The rain had just stopped when a man in a worn-out baseball cap pushed open the glass door of Eleanor's diner. The neon sign outside buzzed faintly, casting a warm glow across the sidewalk. Inside, the air smelled of coffee, fried bacon, and fresh pies cooling by the counter. It was a scene of comfort, laughter, and routine, at least for the customers who came in daily. But the man slipping into the corner booth wasn't there for comfort. He was there to watch. To the waitresses, he looked like an ordinary traveler, maybe a trucker, maybe a construction worker passing through. His jacket was faded, his jeans dusty, and his hair a little too unkempt. He ordered nothing more than a cup of black coffee and kept his head low. What no one knew was that the traveler was actually Thomas Carter, the real owner of Eleanor's diner. He had taken over the place 5 years ago, after his mother passed away, naming it after her. For the most part, Thomas left the day-to-day management to his trusted staff, while he expanded his investments. But lately, whispers had reached him. Rumors of staff overworked, corners cut, and unhappy employees. Thomas decided to come back undercover to see the truth for himself. That's when he noticed her. A young waitress with dark hair pulled back in a messy bun hurried past his booth, balancing a heavy tray. She wore the standard uniform, navy apron, white shirt. But something about her made Thomas sit up straighter. Her right hand was wrapped in thick bandages, and yet she used her left to pour coffee, deliver plates, and clean tables at lightning speed. Every so often, he caught the faintest wince in her eyes when she had to grip something too tightly. She never complained, not once. Instead, she smiled at every customer, apologized when she bumped into a chair, and even crouched down to comfort a fussy child while her broken hand trembled at her side. Thomas felt a knot tighten in his chest. Why was she working with an injury like that? Why hadn't the manager sent her home? He scribbled in his notebook, pretending to be an ordinary customer, jotting things down. But the more he watched, the more he realized there was a story hidden behind that waitress's tired smile, a story he needed to uncover, and what he would discover later would leave him stunned. Her name was Emily Hayes. Thomas learned it when another waitress called across the counter. "Emily, can you grab the order for table 5? Emily nodded quickly, balancing 2 steaming plates, with her good hand while nudging the kitchen door open with her hip. Thomas noticed something strange. The diner had 3 waitresses on shift that evening, but Emily was doing most of the work. She was the one darting back and forth between tables, filling coffee cups, and rushing to the register when the line grew. The other 2 girls chatted near the soda fountain, moving slowly, never offering her a hand. Emily didn't complain. She just kept moving, like someone who had no choice but to endure. At one point, she passed Thomas's table with a forced smile. "Coffee refill, sir?" she asked. Thomas nodded, his eyes falling on the deep bruises peeking from under her bandages. The wrapping looked clumsy, like it had been done in a hurry. "If you don't mind me asking," he said gently, "what happened to your hand?" Emily froze for half a second, then quickly set down the coffee pot. "Oh, this? Just clumsy, I guess. Fell at home." Her voice was light, but her eyes flickered away, avoiding his. Thomas didn't believe her. There was something in her tone, the practiced way of brushing it off. As she walked away, he noticed her shoulders stiffen, as if she feared being questioned further. That night, when Emily finally took a short break near the counter, Thomas overheard the cook whispering to her, "Emily, you shouldn't be here. You need rest." But Emily shook her head firmly. "I can't afford rest, Joe. Rent's due. If I lose this shift, I won't make it this month." Thomas's chest tightened. This wasn't just about dedication. It was about survival. And yet he sensed there was more to Emily's story. Something she wasn't saying. Something he was determined to find out. Whispers after closing. The diner grew quiet after the dinner rush. The last few customers trickled out into the damp night, and the neon sign hummed over the empty parking lot. Inside, chairs were flipped onto tables, and the smell of grease lingered in the air. Thomas stayed in his corner booth, pretending to finish his coffee. From there, he could hear the staff talking as they cleaned up. Emily moved slower now, exhaustion written in every movement. She clutched her injured hand close to her chest when no one was watching. One of the other waitresses, a tall blonde named Kayla, sneered as she passed by. "Don't drop the plates again." "Emily, management's not gonna like broken dishes coming out of your paycheck." Emily didn't argue. She just lowered her head and kept wiping the counter. Thomas's jaw tightened. So this was how his staff treated each other? When the clock struck 11, the manager, a man in his 40s with a loosened tie, stepped out from the back office. "All right, girls, tips are counted. Kayla, you get 65. Maria, 52. Emily," he glanced at her envelope before shrugging, 40. Emily frowned slightly. "But I covered most of the floor tonight." The manager smirked. "Yeah, but customers tip who they like. Maybe try working faster with that broken hand of yours." Kayla laughed under her breath. Thomas's fists clenched beneath the table. He had seen enough. He wanted to rip off his disguise and fire the manager on the spot, but he forced himself to wait. If he revealed himself too soon, he might never learn the full truth. When Emily finally stepped outside, Thomas quietly followed. She walked down the dark street, her shoulders hunched against the cold. Instead of heading toward the bus stop, she turned into a shabby apartment building with peeling paint and flickering lights. Through the cracked glass of the entrance, Thomas saw her stop at a bulletin board crowded with overdue rent notices. She pulled one down with her name on it, folded it carefully, and slipped inside. It hit him then. Emily wasn't just working through pain. She was fighting to keep her life from falling apart. And tomorrow, Thomas decided, he would find out exactly why. The next morning, Thomas was back in his disguise, seated in the same corner booth. He wanted answers. Emily arrived early, her hair still damp from a rushed shower, the same bandages on her hand. She looked pale, as if she hadn't slept much. Still, she greeted every customer with a smile. During a lull in the rush, Thomas finally spoke. "Emily," he said softly when she came to refill his coffee, "I couldn't help noticing. You're working hurt. Why not take time off?" She hesitated, eyes flickering with panic, then gave a tired smile. "I don't have that luxury." Thomas leaned in, lowering his voice. "I heard your manager shorting your tips last night. That's not right. You deserve better." Her lips parted, but she quickly shook her head. "Please don't. I can't afford to cause trouble. I need this job." Something in her voice cracked, and Thomas gently pressed, "Emily, what's really going on?" She froze, then sighed, her brave smile collapsing. Quietly, she admitted the truth. Her husband had walked out months ago, leaving her alone with a 5-year-old son. Jacob. She had no family nearby, no one to help. When Jacob fell ill, medical bills piled up. Then came the broken hand, an accident from her second job at a warehouse. She couldn't afford to quit either job, so she kept working through the pain, praying no one would fire her. Tears welled in her eyes. "If I miss even one paycheck, we'll lose our apartment. My son, he needs me to keep going." Thomas's throat tightened. Here she was, carrying the weight of the world, smiling for strangers while her own life was crumbling. And his so-called management had done nothing but exploit her. That night, Thomas returned as himself. No disguise, no pretense. The staff's jaws dropped when they realized who the scruffy customer really was. The manager stammered excuses, but Thomas cut him off coldly. "Pack your things. You're done here." Then he turned to Emily, who stood frozen with wide eyes. "Emily, you're the kind of person this diner was built for. Hardworking, kind, and selfless. From today, you're not just an employee. You're assistant manager, Full benefits, paid leave, and a raise. And take the rest of the week off. Go home to your son. Emily's eyes flooded with tears. For once, she couldn't hide behind a smile. She whispered, "I don't know how to thank you." Thomas smiled gently. "You already have, by showing me what true strength looks like." As she left that night, cradling her injured hand but walking lighter than ever, Thomas knew one thing for certain. He hadn't just uncovered a waitress's struggle. He had rediscovered the heart of his mother's diner. And it was beating stronger than ever.